Hour number 2 here, and I'll tell you, it is a great weekend. We're getting and rolling closer to the NCAA tournament. Rohit Ponniaya is with us now, and we'll get his conversation going here. And Rohit, I got to ask you right out of the gate here, give me your 4 teams right now on Valentine's Day that is kind of like the sweetheart 4 for you right now that you like for the NCAA tournament in the top seeds.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty chalky, but we saw last year's super chalky tournament. But I like a lot of the teams that have already looked like contenders. Michigan at the top of that list. They've just been so dominant, especially, games against good teams where they've just been blowing them out of the water. I love Arizona. I know they lost to Kansas, but, that sort of thing can happen, especially when you're on the road. A little bit volatile with their three-point shooting, but they do everything else at such a high level. So give me Arizona as well. Give me Houston. This is the best offense that Kelvin Sampson has had as far as I can remember, and still really, really tough defensively. So got Houston, Michigan. We've got Arizona, and I think my final team that I think I would probably take there. Another tough one, but I'm going to say Duke. I mean, this is a team that's still just kind of scratching the surface, and Boozer's just been so good. And we know that Scheyer is, a young coach, but he's a coach that can get it done in March. So I think those are the 4 I like right now.
Do you think Boozer's the Wooden Award winner, or is it Tippin in your opinion?
It's really tough this year because there's been so many awesome players, and I think we could still see someone like DeBansa make a run late. But as of right now, I think it's Boozer. I mean, he's doing everything. He's not just scoring. He's been their best passer. He's been their best rebounder. He's been an average defender for a team that does focus a lot on the defensive end of the floor. And so I just think that all around play, along with the fact that Duke will clearly probably end up winning the ACC again, will probably get him the award.
How about Purdue and Illinois? Maybe even throw Nebraska in that conversation too. What do you make of those 3 teams? Probably looking at them right now as potentially a 2 seed as you get ready for the conference tournaments and also the NCAA tournament. Nebraska too, Purdue, those teams. What do you make of those 3?
I've been a little bit down on Purdue all season. Don't get me wrong. I still think this is a Sweet 16 team, but a lot of people were talking about them as the best team in the country. But they're a little bit soft. I mean, I'm not super impressed with how they are physical in terms of defense. Also not impressed with the fact that, they just don't have the athleticism to hang with certain teams on the wing. Near the bottom of the conference in opponent 2-point percentage. And I think that is a bad recipe for the postseason. Kind of in the same boat for as far as Illinois goes. I really do like this team, and it's curious how they're going to look with Boswell back on the floor. But at the same time, their defense has me a little bit worried looking at that right now. If I had to compare the 2 teams, I might give a slight odds. I might give a slight edge to Illinois. You're getting a little bit more plus money, backing them to get into the Final Four, and I think they're just as good as Purdue. Nebraska's a team that I'm also not completely sold on. A team that I think if you can get some good value on them, maybe getting into the Sweet 16, there's value. But I just don't think they have the high-end talent or the experience at, the higher caliber of level to get past some of these other top teams across the country.
Okay, so I'm a Miami Hurricane guy, so let me go to Miami, Ohio. I mean, they're undefeated here. I mean, is it fool's gold? Are we looking at one of these teams that, they're not really playing power teams right now? They've got a great record, but are they a great team?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. It's one of those things where I'd be a little bit reluctant to trust them because this is a team that has been reliant on shooting. They shoot extremely well from everywhere on the floor, and you can get those shots off against lower caliber teams. You're not going to be able to get those shots off against, SEC powerhouses, Big Ten teams that can clog up the paint. So, I mean, I don't think they faced a defense that's anywhere near the level they're going to be facing once they get into the tournament, if they get into the tournament. And I think, Akron is still going to provide a pretty big test for them when it comes down to the conference tournament. Curious to see if the MAC will send 2 teams to the tourney this year. I assume it's just going to be 1. So they're going to need to win out all the way through if they want to make it work.
That Houston team that you mentioned, you go and you look at what Kelvin Sampson has done with that basketball team. Is this one of the better teams that he's had there at Houston?
I think so. I mean, we've seen in the past that they're always just, play that suffocating defense. But in terms of overall depth, in terms of star power, in terms of having someone that can create his own shot like Kingston Fleming's, I don't think we've seen that in a while. So I think this is a team that can really get the job done. And I think they are a little bit more maybe tested than most because they have a really nice blend of younger talent, along with those experienced guys returning, guys like Sharp, JoJo Tugler. So I think this is the team that might be able to get the job done. And I certainly wouldn't count them out to win the national title, because I think losing in such a close game last year definitely left a bit of a bitter taste in their mouth entering this season.
Rohit, I love your opinion on this. I asked Coach Lapis this last hour. The job that John Calipari's done at Arkansas, could that be a Sweet 16, Elite 8 type of basketball team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, we saw them make a really good run last year, and they didn't have anywhere near the talent they have this year. Acuff has been amazing, a lot of depth there, a lot of offensive firepower, and it really comes down to how well they can perform on these neutral sites, because there has been a very marked difference between how they perform at home compared to how they perform in hostile territory. So as long as you can get them playing at a high level away, I think Sweet 16 is a pretty solid bet for them. I think this might be the second or third best team in the SEC. So definitely something to keep an eye on, because Acuff is still hitting another level in terms of his overall play.
Are you buying or selling the Badgers?
Selling. I didn't see them winning last night. They ended up winning huge. But this is a team that is just so reliant on threes. I don't think they're always going to be able to make those, especially against teams that defend well at the perimeter. And when their threes aren't falling, we've seen them lose a lot of games, some of them very badly. And so I just don't think that's the sort of shooting that I want to see from a team. I want to see a team, attack the rim. I want to see them get to the free throw line. I want to see them be able to lock down opponents. That's how I expect teams to be able to win, when their shots aren't dropping. And I don't really see that from Wisconsin yet.
So do you don't think that they're a threat to Michigan, or do you think they're a threat to Michigan in the Big Ten?
I don't think so. No, I think Michigan is gonna pretty much clean the clock with them, because I think when they go up against a team like Michigan, a team that defends so well inside and out, I don't think they have the other things going for them where they'll be able to beat a team like Michigan. When Michigan controls the glass, when Michigan is being able to move the ball on both sides of the floor, being able to run the floor in transition, I don't think the Badgers will be able to keep up with them.
How about Illinois, Indiana this weekend? Who do you like in that one?
I like Illinois. It's been a little bit rough for them the last few games. They have had some bad turnouts, but I'm just not sold on Indiana. Indiana's soft on the inside. Illinois has fantastic size. I love what Wagler's been doing there. I think him stepping into that point guard role has really showed what he's capable of. And I think Illinois is simply the better team on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think Illinois will crush this one.
I never thought I'd be saying this. Wait a minute. Indiana football is better than Indiana basketball. I mean, the world has changed. It's upside down. Give me three guys that you think are doing the best job in coaching this year.
Oof, that's a tough one. I think a lot of guys have kind of impressed me. I'm going to say Scheyer. The thing with like Jon Scheyer is he keeps getting these young freshmen in, and he keeps integrating them so well. And that's really something that's impressed me a lot. I also think, that that coaching job that Bill Self did, going into that game against Arizona, finding out he doesn't have Darren Peterson, 20 minutes before tip-off, and the adjustments he made were phenomenal as well. So I got to give him some credit there. And I also think Mark Few is doing a great job in Gonzaga. That's another team that perennially has been, at the top of the country. And even when they have a lot of new faces in that lineup, they tend to work with them well. You see him making these adjustments with Braden Huff injured. And, he's always making those adjustments to make his team, put his team in the best spot to win.
Absolutely. I think the NCAA tournament is going to be pretty amazing as we get closer to the conference tournaments, and we also get closer to the NCAA tournaments. My friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. It's because they win, my friends. The stories that I tell you all the time about the family in Pennsylvania that was initially offered $650K, they ended up getting over $26 million in recovery. Or the family in Florida who was initially offered $350,000, they ended up getting $12 million in recovery. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. We will talk more with Rohit. We're going to bounce up to the big leagues, and I'm going to ask him this. Is the All-Star game going the way of the Pro Bowl? Is it watchable even? We'll do that next, right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at the team at all. It was just a plain and simple and obvious fact.
I think what's difficult, though, is, and I agree with you, right? I guess I agree with LeBron. The assessment of it all, it's why the Lakers organization seems to be comfortable with that truth, unless they disagree. But again, I don't really know how you disagree.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You guys had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You knew you were facing a Mike McDonald defense that disguises everything, and that was your game plan, to play scared. I mean, Mike Vrabel, I love the guy. He played that game, Donnie, like it was a preseason scrimmage in August and not the Super Bowl.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It looked like a clump of grass. It didn't look like an eagle. That's the one, by the way, USA Today claimed was the best ad. They thought the Lay's ad was number 2. The worst ad was any ad that had AI in it or had an AI company behind it. It wasn't because of the AI. It was because they were the most nonsensical ads you've ever seen. Does anybody look at these ads and understand if they are actually trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to showcase the product as opposed to being great with AI? Very embarrassing.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Listen here, playing flag football in the Pro Bowl, I'm not really engaged in that. I know flag football, the NFL is trying to push this thing, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm engaged to watch the NBA All-Star game on Sunday. Rohit Ponniaya is here with us, and is there any way of saving here, Rohit, that the NBA All-Star game, back in the day, and I'm going to sound like, oh man, get off my lawn, I'm watching Bird and Magic, and those guys are going up and down the court. There's actually some defense that's being played. Can it be saved?
You know, I'm not sure. It's like they've tried every format that they can think of, and it hasn't worked out so far. You know, they tried the captains thing and guys picking their own teams. I kind of like the World versus USA format when it was just one team against another. I think there may be some value in that moving forward with how much the international game is growing. But this year, I don't know what they're doing. You know, one global team, 2 U.S. teams, weird round robin, bunch of guys who don't want to play. I mean, it's just a really weird mix to make it work. But I think they're going to have to do something to jazz up this All-Star weekend, because the dunk competition definitely isn't it. So give me something to root for at least.
How about KD going out and saying, well, the Euros are ruining the All-Star game. I mean, Joker and Luka don't care about it. I'm sorry, but Rohit, I think this thing's been on a flamethrower for about 15 years. I mean, what'd you make of KD's comments towards those two guys?
Yeah, at this point in his career, I just feel like KD is just salty about everything. I mean, you know, he's the first guy to fire back when fans give him the slightest bit of criticism. He's the first one to throw criticism at everybody else around the league. And really, when it comes down to it, it's like this game hasn't meant much in years. So it's, you know, tough to fault these guys for not coming out and, you know, trying to keep their bodies preserved, trying to, try to get themselves ready for a stretch run and maybe a championship caliber, run, because, those guys have been dealing with injuries. So yeah, you can't really fault them for not wanting to play when they might be getting a really valuable rest period here. At the same time, there's got to be something to increase the stakes here. I mean, I don't know if something would work like maybe what they've, done in other sports where whoever, set it back to East versus West, but maybe whoever wins gets home court advantage in the finals, just something to give there some sort of incentive to play, right?
Are there any props worth betting in this thing on Sunday? I mean, do you see some things that, people can put some ducks down on for Sunday?
The only one I would really consider, if we're looking at the actual All-Star game with the 3 teams, I think the world team probably has the best bet. The U.S. Stripes team is an old boys team, LeBron, Kawhi, KD. I don't know how motivated they're going to be in this one. USA Stars team looks highly motivated, a lot of young guys, but they don't have any size, and the world team has so much more talented big. So, like the US world team, I also like Team Knicks in the Shooting Stars contest. They are the chalkiest one, but you're still getting them at plus 170. Allen Houston is probably the best shooting of the old guys there. And then you've got Brunson and Towns that can shoot lights out too. Every other team in that contest has at least 1 or 2 weak shooting players. So I think the Knicks, but at plus 170 is a lot of value considering they should easily win that one.
Do you think we're headed for a pretty tough divorce there between LeBron James and the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to happen wherever he goes. And I think it's, I think the writing is in the cards there eventually. But for now, we'll just have to keep watching because he's, he did impress me when Doncic got injured and he was able to step up. I thought he was already washed and he's proved me wrong. So he definitely has something to contribute somewhere else, but he seems to always leave on bad terms.
You know what, too? And the other night with the Mavericks, he had a triple-double, oldest guy ever to do that. He put those 28 points up. Do you think potentially Golden State, does he stay with the Lakers, or could you see him go back home to the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I think, I think a swan song in Cleveland, I don't see that happening now. I think going back twice, winning the championship, that was it. I'd be pretty surprised. I mean, it wouldn't count anything out when it comes to LeBron, but I think, a third stint in Cleveland would definitely surprise me because you can only burn your bridges so many times before people stop kind of wanting you there.
Rohit,
he's an Akron guy, not a Cleveland guy, right?
Yeah, that's right. He is an Akron guy. Am I really going to buy the Pistons here? Bickerstaff and what I can't believe that record. I looked it up the other day and I'm like, what? Are they that good in the East right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's the key statement right there. They're that good in the East. I do not think they can beat, the best of the best out West, but the East has been a pretty weak division. And with how well Cunningham's playing, how well that team is playing defensively, I think they can definitely make a run out in the Eastern Conference. But even if they manage to get it through the East, I don't expect them to. Usually I find those younger teams, they have to stumble in the playoffs before they can really go on a run. So I think this is going to be a relatively early exit from them, but definitely a team to watch for the next few years.
The Spurs blasted the Lakers a couple games ago. That looks like, Wemby's got that thing and the way that they're playing right now. Are you buying the Spurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a coincidence that they've been, one of the only teams to consistently beat the Thunder this season. What do the Thunder do extremely well? I mean, it's their length, their ability to defend and score at a high level on both ends of the floor. And the Spurs are one of the few teams that can match them that capability. Don't necessarily have the depth that the Thunder do, and they don't have the experience, at least in the playoffs. But in terms of pure talent and that sort of insane length and athleticism, they're one of the few teams that can match up with arguably the best team in the league. So Spurs are definitely a contender.
Every year, I find myself doing this. I talk Lakers and I talk Knicks. And I don't know why, because I'm not sure those are even like the best teams in their respective conferences. But here we go to the Knicks here. I mean, you think the Knicks can make a run at this thing in the Eastern Conference? Because you just mentioned that you don't really think that the East is that strong. So is it wide open for everybody, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's wide open for a lot of teams, and I think the Knicks would probably be my team to make it out of the East. So, yeah, I mean, if you're a Knicks fan, I mean, this is the year to be it because I think they're the most complete team out of the others. And I do think, now that they've got a new coach there, I mean, they're not going to be completely exhausted by the time, the playoffs roll around. Because when Thibodeau was there, he was just playing their starters to death, wasn't using their depth. And now they at least have the depth, I think, to compete in a 7-game grueling series against some of the other top teams there.
I want you to give me your take here in about 30 seconds here. Daryl Morey, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers. Will they ever win?
No. Time to move forward with the young guys. Build around Maxey, build around those young guys, and plan for the future because Edgecombe looks like the real deal. But Embiid is never going to be a fully healthy guy capable of winning a championship.
Man, he ends up winning that NBA championship or that NBA MVP. And it's just been downhill since. He's like a road cone now. Every time you watch him play, he's just not that guy. Rohit, I appreciate you doing this. It should be an interesting second half of the NBA season here. No question about it. And that Pistons team is absolutely, again, I don't know what to make of them. I really don't, but I'm with him. I'm with Rohit on the New York Knicks. So Olympics. We're going to talk a little bit on the Olympics here. And it's Valentine's Day. That's next here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at the team at all. It was just a plain and simple and obvious fact.
I think what's difficult, though, is, and I agree with you, right? I guess I agree with LeBron. The assessment of it all, it's why the Lakers organization seems to be comfortable with that truth, unless they disagree. But again, I don't really know how you disagree.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You guys had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You knew you were facing a Mike McDonald defense that disguises everything, and that was your game plan, to play scared. I mean, Mike Vrabel, I love the guy. He played that game, Donnie, like it was a preseason scrimmage in August and not the Super Bowl.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It looked like a clump of grass. It didn't look like an eagle. That's the one, by the way, that USA Today claimed was the best ad. They thought the Lay's ad was number 2. The worst ad was any ad that had AI in it or had an AI company behind it. It wasn't because of the AI. It was because they were the most nonsensical ads you've ever seen. Does anybody look at these ads and understand if they are actually trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to showcase the product as opposed to being great with AI? Very embarrassing.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
You know, one of my favorite times of the year is Olympic time. I love the Olympics. One of my favorites of all time. And I make this comment all the time. If you were to give me an option to have a gold medal representing my country or a Super Bowl ring, give me the gold medal. Standing there up at the podium, representing my country, having that medal around my neck. By the way, I don't even care really what the color is. I'll be on the podium there. Hey, as long as I'm on the podium, I'm getting a medal, I'm all good. But here, a lot of athletes want to use this as a personal platform. So listen, I don't know who this dude is, this Norwegian biathlete. Stuttgart Holm Lingrad. Okay, he wins a bronze medal. I guess that's his name, right? So he thought he would use this platform to, like, on Valentine's Day weekend, this narcissist wants to go and give his girlfriend a note. And here, let me quote. I want to make sure I get this right. 6 months ago, I met the love of my life. I don't even know why I'm talking like that, but it sounds right. The world's most beautiful, sweetest person in the world. Lingard, then he throws the tears out. Well, 3 months ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I cheated on my love. Well, let me hook you up here, homeboy. I don't think you standing there in front of the world telling the world that you cheated on your girlfriend and that you're begging for forgiveness. I'm not sure that that is the place where you're going to get any love. So what does the girlfriend do? She responds back, I did not choose to be put into this position, and it hurts to have been put in it. She said, by the way, also, we have had contact, and I'm aware, and he's aware of my opinions on this matter. Homie, that doesn't sound like on Valentine's Day weekend that you're going any place with this. So if I were you, here's a big sales tip. Guy, what you need to do is get on your hands and knees and do everything in your power. Not just sit there and throw her name out in public like that on the world's biggest platform. By the way, the ratings are up 93% from the last Winter Games. So the entire world is watching this guy go, yeah, I'm sitting here in Milan, and hey, I've got don't mind the girls in the hot tub. They don't love them. I love you. Yeah, dude, I'm thinking that that's not going to work. I'm thinking that if you're using that platform for you to sit there and try to get forgiveness from your girlfriend, hey, I'm not thinking that that's the place for you to do this. Listen, the Olympic Games have been absolutely spectacular. U.S. hockey team, really, I think they got a great shot at winning the gold medal. I love the Olympics. A lot of athletes right now, too, are using, the platform to do political stuff, this and that. The Olympics have been great. This U.S. team, I can't wait for this game against Team Canada when they get into the medal rounds. Listen, there's no question. That's one of the marquee events in the Olympics is watching Team USA. The Team USA has got probably the best odds of winning the gold medal against Team Canada. You're going to see Denmark also in this. You're going to see Sweden is also going to be in the mix to potentially have a shot at winning that gold medal. Finland is also there. Czechoslovakia, Switzerland. You got the U.S. team, which I love the gear too, by the way, because that's retro back to the 1980 team that won the gold medal and ended up there in Lake Placid when they won the gold medal. So, yeah, the Olympics are a great place, but dude, it's Valentine's Day weekend. And if you cheated on your girlfriend, I can't think that's the place for you to go and stand there and beg for forgiveness. Get some roses, okay? Call her up, make a dinner date. This is just tips from me. Again, I'm a girl dad. So, and then you're going to have to get past the dad as well. I get the effort. I'm good with it. But, dude, the world stage, I'm thinking that that's not the place. Once again, like I said, though, I bring this topic up all the time in sports talk about the gold medal versus, like, having an MVP award or having, like, an opportunity to win a Super Bowl ring. You give me this gold medal, standing at the podium, okay, and representing your country. How in the world is that not the greatest achievement that you could possibly have when the American flag is falling or going up, and then you have the national anthem being played and you're representing your country? I would think any country too. Any country that you get a chance to be an Olympian, it's the greatest achievement, I think, in all of sports, is getting a chance to represent your country. So looking forward to the remaining part of the games. One also a little bit of tidbit there for NBC. Stop with the curling. Okay, I get the curling, okay, but enough with the curling, all right? We will talk to the legendary Philly Godfather and get his thoughts. That's next right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at the team at all. It was just a plain and simple and obvious fact.
I think what's difficult, though, is, and I agree with you, right? I guess I agree with LeBron. The assessment of it all, it's why the Lakers organization seems to be comfortable with that truth, unless they disagree. But again, I don't really know how you disagree.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You guys had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You knew you were facing a Mike McDonald defense that disguises everything, and that was your game plan, to play scared. Mike Vrabel, I love the guy. He played that game, Donnie, like it was a preseason scrimmage in August and not the Super Bowl.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It looked like a clump of grass. It didn't look like an eagle. That's the one, by the way, that USA Today claimed was the best ad. They thought the Lay's ad was number 2. The worst ad was any ad that had AI in it or had an AI company behind it. It wasn't because of the AI. It was because they were the most nonsensical ads you've ever seen. Does anybody look at these ads and understand if they are actually trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to showcase the product as opposed to being great with AI? Very embarrassing.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Man, Super Bowl 60 was kind of a dud, but, one of the things that I say all the time about gambling and prop bets, that's one of the things that keeps people engaged is the sports betting that goes on. So we talked to our legendary friend, Philly Godfather. He joins us now here on SportsGrid. And give me your takeaways, man, on what you saw with Super Bowl 60. Really, the only thing competitive was the coin toss.
And we got that one right on your show. You asked me
You did.
who'd win the coin toss, and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? This Patriots team has been lucky all season. They played one of the most banged up schedules all year. Their opponents were banged up when you look at their average health score. And the ball bounced their way in the playoffs. They played a backup quarterback against the Broncos. So I said, you know what? There's no math behind it, but let's take the Patriots to win the coin toss. And I told you guys to bet the yellow. Bet the yellow, baby, on the Gatorade. That cashed at plus 275. But the game played out kind of like I thought it was. I came down. I was on a couple of your shows, and that Seattle team was just they were just too strong for the Patriots. The Patriots were really lucky to be there. They had a great season, but like I said, the ball bounced their way. You look at their opposing quarterback they faced all season, not the best. And Seattle, they were more efficient. You saw how fast they were on offense, all the weapons they had offensively. And you got to give it to Sam Darnold, man. It's a great comeback story.
If you were going to handicap the 2026 season and you're looking at both the Patriots and the Seahawks, you'd be more apt to put more money down on the Seahawks than you would the Patriots. Do you think the Patriots take a step backwards?
I think so. I mean, they had a third or fourth place schedule last season. Everything went their way. The Seahawks proved they're the cream of the crop in the NFC. Defensively, one of the better defensives we've seen in a long time. As of right now, I think the Seahawks are still the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl at most sports books, anywhere from 9 to 10 to 1. Patriots are around 13 to 1. I don't think that's a good bet. The Rams are, I think, maybe co-favorites with the Seahawks at many sports books at 9 or 10 to 1. The Bills with Josh Allen, with him, they're always in the mix. The Eagles dropped off a little bit, around 14 or 15 to 1. The Ravens, new head coach, new aspirations, new dreams. They're right around 13 or 14 to 1. And the Chiefs, how can you count the Chiefs out with Mahomes coming back? And they're probably the cream of the crop right there.
I picked 3 teams that I thought would go from worst to first. We just saw this with the Patriots. They win 4 games. The previous year, they end up in Super Bowl 60. So give me your takeaways on what you think with this Giants team. They've made so many changes, obviously hiring John Harbaugh, bringing him in, and look at that coaching staff that they've put together. Arguably one of the better and more experienced coaching staffs of any of the new hires there. What's your takeaways on the Giants going into 26? Early bets and props and things that you think whether or not they could be one of those surprise teams?
I think so. The division definitely got tougher with him in the NFC East. Eagles, got to face that team twice. Now you got to, you're looking down the field, you see John Harbaugh on the opposing sideline. You see his resume, what he's done in his career. This is a team that they got a solid quarterback, solid defense, strong defensive line. They have a nucleus of what could be a team that could make the playoffs this year. So if you're looking to bet the over in their season win totals, that might have a shot, especially with the easier schedule that they have for next season. Now, can they make a run in the playoffs? They might be a year or 2 away for that. I still think they're missing a couple key components on the football field. But with John Harbaugh and that young quarterback, and they're getting some guys back from injuries, they're going to be a tough out there.
Let me stay in the NFC East for a second here. What's your takeaway on the Eagles right now? So many changes on offense. They lose Jeff Stoutland on the offensive line. They're going to try to change, and they're going to try to throw the football around with Jalen Hurts. Your takeaways on them? What kind of early props do you think and chances they have at getting back to Super Bowl 61?
It's not going to be easy, man. The rest of the team's caught up in the NFC. The style of football didn't work last year because their offensive line wasn't elite. It wasn't creating those big holes for Saquon Barkley to run through. It wasn't protecting Jalen Hurts. And I really, I love Jalen Hurts as a football player. I mean, I don't think he's an elite quarterback, but he has played great. He's had some great seasons. You can't argue with that. He's been in the Super Bowl twice. He's got one ring. You got to surround him with the best players possible on the football field. You got to keep A.J. Brown around. You got Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. But again, I think the Eagles take a step back, and it's indicative in their odds. Their odds are dropping off. They had the fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl. Now they're at the sixth or seventh best odds. And as the season progresses, you might see them fall back even more. It's not the trajectory for this Eagles team. It's not going up, in my opinion. There's a lot of stuff going on in the locker room that they got to solve between Jalen Hurts and a couple players, not just A.J. Brown. So, I'm hoping for the Eagles fans that they get back, but I don't think so.
Let me give you another team. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers, and here's why I'm going with the Panthers. That may be going from a team that, again, it's going to go from worst to first year, because if you told me at the beginning of the year that the extension, would you give it to C.J. Stroud or would you give it to Bryce Young? Here's a team that really did a great job against the Rams. They beat them in the year. They gave them a really tough game in the playoffs as well. They pushed that Rams team around again. What do you think of Carolina's chances going into the 26th season on potentially winning the NFC South?
It's never easy back-to-back, but this is a very physical team. If you looked at strength of victory, stat that we look at, number one was the Rams last year, and number two were the Carolina Panthers. So this is a very strong team, strong nucleus. Right now, I think they're like 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. So if you like them that much, I mean, you could nibble on them as a lottery ticket. I just think there's other better options, in the sports betting market, but they're definitely going to be a tough team to beat, especially in that division. Man, I think they could win the division again.
You always come up and give us always great dark horses each and every single year. Give us some dark horses that you think in 2026 that would be good bets for people to put money down, because again, you always bet against the money, against the public. You're always looking for that edge. Are there a couple teams that you would look at going into this 26th season if somebody wanted to put some dough down on it?
Well, last year I had the Bears at 42-1, and they had a great shot to go. If they beat the Rams in overtime, and we were going to be right there. We had made some free money. So anytime you're betting these long shots, these teams with big odds, you're always looking to hedge in the playoffs and get some guaranteed money. And if the ball bounces your way and if the opponents get a little banged up, they might sneak through and actually get to the Super Bowl. This year, the Chargers ain't really a long shot. They're at 15-1. They were decimated with injuries on their offensive line last year. And if they get that straightened out, they're going to be a tough out. The Bears, again, at 25-1, even though they're going to have a first-place schedule, be a little more difficult this season because now everyone knows that Caleb Williams can actually play at an elite level at that quarterback position. They were the cardiac kids last year, and they surprised a lot of people. Long shot. The Vikings, I mean, at defense, the coaching staff there, they're at 60-1, maybe 70-1. If they can get their offensive line issue straightened out, they could surprise some people this season. The Cincinnati Bengals, you can probably get them at 30-1. Joe Burrow, you're giving me with 30-1 on a team led by Joe Burrow. I'm going to have to nibble on them anytime. And maybe the New York Giants, you can probably grab 70-1 on them to win the whole thing. They're probably the long shots I'd be looking at this season.
How about the Colts? If they get a healthy Daniel Jones, I mean, look where they were and how well he was playing. Look at both lines. They got Jonathan Taylor, the running back. They got a pretty good defense. Could you see them potentially being one of those way too early teams that maybe people want to put some dough down on?
Yeah, I mean, you saw how well Danny Jones played. They had a top offensive line before he got hurt. Top defensive line. The nucleus of that Colts team is one of the better ones in the NFL. They started off the season red hot last year, 8-1, and I think you can still get them right now like 60 or 70-1. Yeah, that's another long shot that has a shot, man.
Absolutely. We're going to do some NBA next. We've got that thing called the NBA All-Star Game coming up on Sunday, and I don't know if anybody's in love with it this weekend, especially on Valentine's Day weekend. We'll do that next right here on SportsGrid.
you wouldn't have your ex officiate your wedding.
Do you, Jake? Liar? Cheater? Gaslighter?
So why have anyone but America's largest injury law firm handle your injury case? With over $30 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Gaslighter, coitus crier, he's got more red flags than a bullfighter's attire.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
We went against this god-awful biggest waste of human flesh in basketball uniform Western Illinois team last time out. Remember, they actually won a game against Eastern Illinois. Only their 5th win on the season, 5-21. Only their 1st win in conference play in the Ohio Valley. They're hosting Little Rock. You know, Little Rock is 6-8. They're halfway decent. I mean, they're better than 5-21.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
They're probably not going to take a lot of Seattle bets. Putting Kansas City at the same number as Detroit or behind LA, way behind Green Bay, way behind Buffalo or Baltimore, who they beat every year, it feels like they are asking for Chiefs money. That would be my read on it, which I feel like usually the idea, Cam, is they never have to ask for Chiefs money.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
You know, I've been saying it all day here. I don't know if the NBA All-Star Game can be saved. It's probably going the way of the Pro Bowl. Philly Godfather, can it be saved? I mean, how do you put bets on this thing? There's no defense. How do you look at the NBA All-Star Game on Sunday, man? What are some of the things you'll be looking for in this game on Sunday?
Man, I didn't even know it was on this weekend, to tell you the truth. Man. That's how bad it's gotten. The product has gotten so bad, Dan. It's not like the old days. I mean, you really, it was something you actually planned a party around, the NBA All-Star Game, the NFL All-Pro Game. And these days, like you said, there's not much there. They've kind of depleted it. It's not fun anymore. The slam dunk contest isn't what it used to be. I remember Dr. J. I remember Michael Jordan. There's been so many years that, those memories stick in your head. And now you don't even care anymore. I mean, the three-point shooting contest, maybe, if you're a Sixers fan, you want to bet on Maxey at plus like 7-1 to win it? I'm not watching it, but I think that offers a little bit of value at 7-1. He's got a shot.
I think that's crazy that, it's no longer a front and center like betting tool for guys like yourself. It's just not really. And again, probably going the side of the Pro Bowl here, where you probably don't do a lot of work when it comes to the Pro Bowl either in setting odds. I mean, it's really a shame. So again, this is more of a product really of the NBA and the NBA players on what's happened to this All-Star Game.
Yeah, and even, during the regular season, it's not, the game isn't the same. It's all three-point jump shots. There's no fluidity. There's no, there's very few teams that play the right way of basketball. It's all analytics now. It's shoot as many 3-point shots as you can and see how many you can make. And that's what it's been coming down to lately.
All right, let's go to some of the NBA MVP favorites. Who would you say right now, top 3 dudes that you would say that would end up winning potentially the most valuable player award in the NBA?
Man, MVP in the NBA. I guess Shea, maybe. He's probably the odds-on favorite. I mean, how can you not look at Joker? Luka. they're probably the guy. And if you look at the odds, I haven't looked at them yet. They're probably the odds-on favorite. Those three guys, maybe who else? Cunningham. I mean, how can you bet against Shea, man? It's just, to me, I think he's the best player in the league right now.
All right, the Spurs. Thoughts on their chances on winning potentially the NBA championship this year?
I mean, they got a great shot. They got one of the best players in the league on that team. But again, OKC is a big roadblock. If you look at their point differential in the season, I mean, no one else is even close. You got the Nuggets out there with Joker. The West is tough. I mean, I think the best team in the league is OKC. I had them last year at plus 750 to win it all, and they might repeat again. So, do the Spurs have a shot? Yeah, but I just think there's a couple of teams that are a little bit better than them ahead of them.
How about the Lakers here? I know I got to keep. We got to go Lakers and Knicks here, and then there's LeBron. There's a story there with them. I mean, I saw the Spurs just wax them this week. I mean, they went out there and they put the whooping board to them. Lakers, are they any kind of contender in the West?
Not really, man. There's probably 11 or 12 teams with better odds to win the whole thing in front of them. And there's probably 5 or 6 in the West that got better odds to win the whole thing. They're a cute team. I mean, it's time for LeBron to retire. Luka's the man. I mean, you can't argue with what he does. Not a great defensive player, but yeah, I don't see the Lakers going anywhere this year.
Let's go to the Sixers here and get your thoughts again. Daryl Morey, I've made this comment about him, even when he was the Houston GM. What has he won? What has he brought to the table when it comes to the 76ers? In your opinion, where's Philly going? Now, the East is not really deep. So again, I mean, people will sit there and it's wide open for anybody. But is it time to rip this thing up and really start all over again in Philadelphia?
I mean, you don't want to, but it looks like they're going to have to. There's probably 12 teams with better odds to win the NBA championship this year. Maxey has been great. They added that young kid, VJ. I don't know. I mean, George, he's 100 years old. I don't even know why he's still on the team. I think it's time to blow it up, like you said, Dan. I think it's time to maneuver things around and start fresh, start new, because the way the Sixers team is built, they're on the edge, looking at the playoffs. So they might not even make the playoffs this year. So we'll see what happens.
What about the Knicks? Your takeaway on the Knicks this year? They have a shot to win the East and really go far, and maybe even into the NBA Finals.
I think so, man. It's them and the Cavaliers. The Pistons are playing some great basketball, and you can never count out the Celtics. I mean, they're the 4 horses in the East. But yeah, the Knicks are battle tested. They've been there before. They got a great nucleus. They play really good basketball, and I think they got like the 3rd or 4th best odds to win it all. Actually.
How about Giannis? Were you shocked that Giannis wasn't moved?
A little bit. I think he wants to leave, but it's a big contract. And, he's not the greatest shooter in the world either. So, he's got to fit in with the right teams. A little shocked he didn't go, but I think it was more of a contract thing than anything.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics, when you look at the depth that they have on that team, it's really about just being healthy, no? For them this year. I mean, they've been banged up at the beginning of the year this year here. So for more of them, that's going to be more. They're probably the deepest team in the Eastern Conference, no?
Yeah, probably. They're one of the better defensive teams. I think they might be the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference. And they got the 2nd best point differential in the season, right behind the Detroit Pistons. So as the season progresses, if they can stay healthy and get healthier, they're definitely going to make some, splash in the playoffs. But again, this Detroit Pistons team, very dangerous team. Offensively, puts up a ton of points. Defensively, maybe the 2nd best team in the East. And they do have the best point differential right now on the East. So, Pistons, Celtics, Knicks, Cavaliers, the 4 horsemen of the East.
Are you buying the Pistons? I mean, that record's insane right now. Bickerstaff has done a spectacular job coaching that team. The front office has done a really nice job. 20 seconds. Do you think this team really has a shot to win the East also?
I mean, how can you argue with 40 wins on the season? They play great away. I think they got 18 wins on the road this year. 8-3 in the division, 26-7 in the conference. Yeah, the team's for real. I mean, if anyone thinks they're not, I don't know what they're looking at. One of the better defensive teams. Defense wins championships, and they got one of the better defensive squads in the NBA.
Man, you look at their record. I mean, it blows your doors off where they are in the Eastern Conference right now. They are playing great basketball. I know it's not the West, and I know the West is deeper, but boy, that Pistons team is playing great. All right. Appreciate it, Godfather. Thank you. Our final thoughts. There is a new king and nil. We'll tell you next on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at the team at all. It was just a plain and simple and obvious fact.
I think what's difficult, though, is, and I agree with you, right? I guess I agree with LeBron. The assessment of it all, it's why the Lakers organization seems to be comfortable with that truth, unless they disagree. But again, I don't really know how you disagree.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You guys had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You knew you were facing a Mike McDonald defense that disguises everything, and that was your game plan, to play scared. I mean, Mike Vrabel, I love the guy. He played that game, Donnie, like it was a preseason scrimmage in August and not the Super Bowl.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It looked like a clump of grass. It didn't look like an eagle. That's the one, by the way, USA Today claimed was the best ad. They thought the Lay's ad was number 2. The worst ad was any ad that had AI in it or had an AI company behind it. It wasn't because of the AI. It was because they were the most nonsensical ads you've ever seen. Does anybody look at these ads and understand if they are actually trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to showcase the product as opposed to being great with AI? Very embarrassing.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
You know, in the world of nil in college athletes, there is a new name that is going to be synonymous with making money. And do you know who that is? He is Charlie Woods. Do you guys know this is Tiger Woods' son? If Arch Manning, the quarterback at Texas, is making $6.5 million, if this kid is remotely close to anything that his father was, he is going to be the first $10 million nil athlete. Folks, this is Tiger Woods' son. You're talking Rolex. You're talking American Express. You're talking some of the biggest people in advertising are going to be sponsoring this kid here. He's going to change the landscape when it comes to college nil. This is a $10 million a year guy. By the time he leaves Tallahassee, this kid may have, if he stays the 4 years at Florida State, he may make north of $30 million. Think about that. A golfer. Hey, there's perks when your last name is James or Manning. This is Tiger's kid. I call Tiger Woods a needle mover. Let's put this out. There's very few athletes that are needle movers. And what I mean by that is appointment setting. People that you want to watch. If, like I said, this kid is 5%, anything near his father, the rewards are going to be endless for him. I actually think the kid can play too. I've seen him in many of the father-son matchups that he and Tiger do, and the kid can play. Can you imagine what this is going to do when it comes to nil and when it comes to college sports? The more we're starting to see the money level being raised, whether it's college basketball or college football, we see these monies. The kid just signed with the University of Miami, a quarterback, Mensa. That kid's going to sign in excess of $6.5 million. We just saw Carson Beck making over $5 million as a starting quarterback for the University of Miami. You saw what Diego Pavia was making at Vanderbilt. You're seeing what Boozer is making in college. You're seeing what Tippin is making in college. Folks, if I am people that are involved with the college game, and if I was in today's college sports, I'm not leaving to go to the pros. I think Shedeur Sanders made one of the biggest mistakes of all time, and that was leaving Colorado. He had a year of eligibility left. Can you imagine if he had stayed? He was making an excess of $6 million a year. He was driving a Rolls-Royce SUV there in Boulder. Kids are going to be staying in college. You just saw what Trinidad Chambliss did. He was petitioning people to come back to college so that he could go and potentially make some more money when it comes to NIL. Guys like Chambliss, guys like Charlie Woods, they have changed the landscape of what college sports is all about. And this is a good thing. I'm sorry. I'm not the old school dude that sits there and says that money is going to corrupt and be worse for college sports. It's not going to corrupt it. Actually, what it's going to do is it's justice. It's about time that your name and image and likeness, you finally get rewarded for that. This has been a gigantic platform for me that I have stood on for a long time in my 20 plus years in broadcasting. I have been a proponent of this, that finally kids are going to be paid for their name. Tiger Woods' name is synonymous with advertising. Charlie Woods is going to benefit from that. Hey man, I got to tell you, I'm a gigantic in favor of all this. And I love the fact that you're seeing a kid who's going to Florida State. This is bigger than you think. It's not just a golfer sign. This is going to change NIL. A $10 million a year athlete you're going to see in college sports. And he's a golfer. Look at what it's doing. It's going to open up all horizons, not just to the college basketball, but also college football. It's going to now go into the land of golf. You're going to see this. You saw the gymnast that's down at LSU, Dunes, and how much she makes when it comes to name, image, and likeness. I think college sports is in a great place. You heard Steve Lapis in the first hour of the program saying, look, it's making college basketball better. Kids are now wanting to stay in college longer because why? You get more of an economic opportunity to make money as a college and a collegiate athlete. I think this is great. I think college sports is in a great place right now. And Charlie Woods, I'm going to be watching NCAA golf now to see an appointment setting to watch Tiger's kid looping it around to see if this kid can win a U.S. Amateur. How's that? I mean, $10 million. Kudos to you, my friend. What a great one. We appreciate each and every single one of you. We will see you tomorrow, noon to 2. Catch you on the first time.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The Buffalo Bills have to find a new head coach. Take a look at the leaders right now. A 33% chance Brian Dable takes that job. You say, well, why? Wait a second here. He's the head coach of the New York Giants. Did you know he came from the Buffalo Bills and basically resurrected Josh Allen on that MVP trajectory while he was with the Buffalo Bills? Clay Kubiak, Joe Brady, Davis Webb, all offensive guys, which I agree with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the fear that we had going on. And the players obviously were paid $10,000 to $30,000 per fix. But what this does is it hits at the core of the identity in the sport, especially in the modern day betting era.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.